LPT if you want a pay raise, try this. Meet with your manager and say what would you need to see from me in the next insert time frame. In order for you to feel comfortable raising my salary to insert amount. This creates objectives for you to shoot for, and gets them to commit to a raise date if you meet them. Or it tells you if their expectations are unrealistic and you should be applying elsewhere in the meantime. Either way, it's a win-win. My favorite convo I had with a manager was one where I asked if there was anything more I could do so that I could be paid more I'm salary so extra hours don't work. She said, yes. I want you to apply for this job I'm posting. Best manager I ever had. She literally created a position for me because I asked. That being said, I also had a manager who told me to go suck a dick. So your mileage may vary, but you always put yourself out there and ask about the pay thing. Not the sucking a dick thing. Okay, sometimes about the sucking the dick thing. Every boss ever, I'd love to give you a raise this very moment. But unfortunately our budget simply doesn't allow for that right now. Not to be that girl, but I've done this exact tactic with all my managers over the last couple of years and the response I always got was you're doing exactly what I already need of you. So just keep that up. Guess who is right back asking the same question next review all over again? Yeah, my manager has no real sway over that. The people in charge of my salary don't even know who I am or what I do. In a job where your manager is the sole gatekeeper to a higher salary, this is definitely advice. Sir, this is a Wendy's and you don't actually work here. The real tip is if you want a pay raise, find a new job. Most companies, especially large ones, are not geared towards allowing managers to give you big raises. In my 25 years of post-college jobs, I've only gotten one raise over 10, and that was after a couple years into my career when I was well underpaid to begin with. I've moved jobs several times in those 25 years and have gotten substantial pay increases 4 times. When I switched companies, had I stayed with the same company those 25 years and that company didn't get acquired, I might be making around 2-3 of what I'm making now and not nearly as marketable. I don't know of too many corporations where a manager has a huge say over raises. The way to get the big raise is to jump to another company. Period. Don't do this if you're already working your ass to the bone. You'll be redirected to do more. We have nothing to do with the salaries. That's up to the union. And we're still negotiating with them to keep your salary as low as possible. This requires a competent manager. This is helpful except the part about your boss giving you the raise. In corporate situations, it is HR that decides if they have the payroll and justification to give you a raise, and most of the time there will be red tape no matter how underpaid you are. HR will use a dumb excuse to say that they cannot authorize it. So build a case for yourself, but don't get your hopes up. 8 of the time it works every time. You can also try looking for another job, much easier to get a raise. At my company this would definitely get you fired. Or at least within the month you'd be on some kind of impossible corrective action that will result in your termination. Or this just opens them up to throw more of a workload on you with no intentions of giving you a raise. I worked my ass off the first few months of my job I'm at now to get a raise that others have got within their first 3 months. Now I get my job and only my job done, then go home. No more extra work for me until I see that raise. This is definitely some of the advice of all time. I've been in the same position for 13 years. Union job. I broached the subject of applying for a supervisor non-union role and was unexpectedly hyped for it by our director and other management. I'm suspicious lol. Doing this today. I work in finance and sit in a lot of operations meetings. There are 2 people in our company 800 that busted their ass last year during tough times and had promotions discussed, approved, and budgeted. Talking going from $60,000 year to $90,000 year. That's lifestyle changing. It's been months and they're still not promoted. The people you think control your pay and promotions don't, but care about you. The people that do control pay and promotions couldn't care less. This may work in cases where you report to the owner of the company you work for. Otherwise, you are just asking some powerless middle manager to consciously refrain from rolling their eyes at you. This is a pretty shit advice. That's not how any of this works. Let me know how that worked out. My title is VP of Finance. If you want a raise, go get a competing offer. Let your manager come to me and say they have an offer for $X, can we match it? That's how you get the real increases. It is not easy as you, the employee, have to do whatever they tell you to do and learn and then after you show that you can do the new tasks they gave you, fight for a raise. 3K or 5K mainly. You're already underpaid. Labor solidarity is the path to higher wages. Might work in a small company, but you gotta be dreaming in any mid to large size one. This strategy would be most effective in a small private company where the owner can pay employees whatever he/she wants. In that setting, pay is directly related to your relationship with the boss or owner. In a corporate environment, there are 3 paths to significantly higher salary promotion. Announce you are leaving for a better opportunity and accept a counteroffer. Or actually leave for a better opportunity. Always be preparing for your next bigger role. And always be prepared to leave for a better opportunity. A good manager will help prepare you for the next promotion. A bad boss means prepare to leave. You're not getting a raise if the company is financially tied down. So it truly doesn't matter what you propose to managers of bigger businesses. If the higher-ups aren't allowing raises, there's nothing a manager them can do for the employee. Here's an actual tip. Penis personal experience never is sufficient. So if we want something, we should communicate about it? IDK. Sounds a little sketchy. Me and my dad literally had a conversation about this earlier this week. Have you ever personally tried this in a professional job and had it work? Definitely wouldn't work in almost any government job. Or this creates opportunities for your manager to constantly move the goalpost and there is nothing you can do about it then but get another job. Definitely don't speak from experience on that one. I have asked this and got a raise the same day because he couldn't think of a reason not to. We then set a target for the next raise and hit that in 6 months. Really worth doing this tip. Most managers have little to no say in your salary nor promotion. They can recommend, that's the most. Look at you assuming my manager or even the next 3 people above him have the authority to give a raise. My boss goes, well, if you have to ask, maybe you're not the right guy. When asked years ago about how to move up to associate, i.e. big pay raise level, I just did what I wanted after that and took on roles by myself. Implemented more efficient calculations and code and got associate without ever asking again. This might be a good LPT for some companies. This advice is like boomers saying to go out and pound the pavement to find a new job. Use nice paper for your resume. Make eye contact and handshake firmly to be hired on for life at any company. Boo. Don't do this unless you want more work. Most managers can't decide raises. This should be removed. It's not a win-win at all. Your boss can tell you any story they want to make you work harder, then never give you a raise.